And Al Latala in the 84A, the
Don Gamble just asking the field look on crew that they do intend to try and fix this car first. That's their first option here. This is the car they want to run, so if it all can be repaired.
So Doug Crawford, Rod Conley will bring the field around, awaiting the green flag to get this first Masterbuilt race car B main event underway. And green flag waves as they go racing up into turns number 1 and 2. Doug Dodd, great start out of the number 3 spot, moves up into the lead as they race down the back chute into turn 3.
Yeah, he's getting it up on the top side of the racetrack. Doug ran here just a couple of weeks ago and finished a very strong third on a Saturday night, and he has set sail.
Rod Conley into that number 2 spot with Doug Crawford third, Rick Heim is fourth, Jim Lepro racing fifth. Again, only the top 2 finishers will be able to transfer into the Pittsburgher 100.
And look at Lou Bradish streaking up through the field. He's also on the top side of the 09. He started way in the back and is already mid-pack.
Well, Doug Dodd has checked out on the field in that Southeastern Equipment sponsored 12 Double D car. Rod Conley trying to hold off the field in that number 2 spot, and look at that, Dow coming in on lap 3, and Doug Dodd with a full straightaway length lead.
Yeah, he is way ahead of the rest of them here. The speed unbelievable for Dodd, and he sort of knew it, I think, right when the green came. He went and made a bold move on the outside, knowing the car was going to stick, and it has continued to work like glue.
Well, Rod Conley continuing to race in the middle of the racetrack. Lou Bradich up on the top as they come off at turn 2. We're able to work his way past the gambler, Paul Wilmuth Jr. in that B1 car. Doug Dodd in a entirely different zip code.
Yeah, Rod Conley holds on to the second transfer spot right now with Crawford second or third, Heim fourth, and Jim Lepro running fifth. The Dodd out in front by more than a straightaway.
Well, Doug Dodd definitely finding something on the racetrack that suits his race car as he is off and gone.
Doug's, I'm sure, saying right now, I just don't want to see a caution. I've worked this hard to get a half a track lead, and here we're going to have one as Russ Colasar goes up in smoke here in turn 4 in the number 8 car.
Bringing the field around through the 3 and 4 turn. Field starting to close up as we get set to go back to a green flag. Dodd picks it up, green flag waves, and we're back underway.
Well, so far, nothing's changed. He is gone again, opening up a quick lead on Rod Conley.
A good race in the middle of the pack. Paul Wilmuth Jr. in that B1. Bobby Close in the 04 battling for position.
I don't know, you might be right. It might be a softer tire, but that's a real gamble on this racetrack because it's known to be a 55 kind of track, 55 compound. And if he went softer, it could get hairy for him toward the finish.
Well, we'll see what happens. Next time by will be at the halfway point. If he did go with soft rubber, it'll start to show here in the next few laps as the tire will start to wear off and not have the traction as some of the harder compound tires have.
Once again, he's opened up a straightaway lead in just 3 quick laps as we get past the halfway mark of this B main.
So Doug Dodd, my oh my, he has got that thing hooked up and flying.
You can bet there'll be a lot of crews checking the tires on that car when he pulls in the pits after this one.
So Doug Dodd used to race with our series. Looks as though Bill Adler going to take the 7A car pit side as he slows on the backside.
Doug has 4 career late model wins here at Pennsylvania Motor Speedway. And then we had a spin in the middle of the pack. The gambler, Paul Wilmuth, and Kenny Sheltonbrand trying to avoid him, spins and gets into Wilmuth up atop that second turn as the caution.
Brand taking his car down into the pit area, so apparently something damaged on that car that felt was not safe on the car, so he takes it back. Built race car B main event. 9 down, 6 to go. Top 2 will make the Pittsburgher 100.
On the gas, Doug Dodd continues to set sail around the top side of the speedway. And now it's Rick Heim in the 29 for a minute there, trying to poke under Doug Crawford for third, but they'll be single foul on the backstretch.
Well, Rod Conley trying to do what he can to catch up with Doug Dodd, but I tell you, Doug is on a rail in that 12 Double D car.
He certainly is. He's been very consistent lap after lap, and now he has just 5 laps to go until he makes the Pittsburgher 100 again.
Little contact over there in the number 2 corner between Jason Montgomery in the 21 and Rod Phillips in the 1P car, but they gather things back in.
Lou Brown is doing everything he can to try to get that 09 forward. You can tell he's just on the ragged edge on the gas pedal, but right now he's still stuck mid-pack.
Well, Doug Dodd again putting himself in a different zip code as well as from the rest of the field. And now with 3 racing laps to go.
Rod Conley solidly in second here, barring any misfortune down the stretch. He should be all right for that second spot. Doug Crawford has dropped back about 10 car lengths behind him. Rick Heim back another 7 or 8 car lengths in 4th.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say, Dow, the way Doug Dodd looks in this first B main event, you can bet once that car comes off the scales and gets back to his pit area, there'll be a whole slew of people around that thing.
He may be turning the fastest laps here the whole weekend. I don't have the stopwatch on him either. Everyone else is a lot slower, or he's just really in a different world, but he's getting around here better than anyone. We got 1 lap to go.
And Lepro and Rick Heim having a good battle for the 4th and 5th spots, as Lepro in that number 6 tried to get under Heim but unable to do it. They come in off of turn number 4. It'll be Doug Dodd taking the win. He'll transfer into the Pittsburgher 100. Second spot will be going to Hot Rod Conley in the 71R. He'll advance. Third spot to Doug Crawford in the 9C, with Rick Heim 4th in the 29 and Jim Lepro 5th in car number 6. Front row in car 14 will be Jack Pencil. On the second row then to the inside will be the 59 car of Bill Cunningham and the 99 of Donnie Moran. On the third row then in car 44 is Dave Hess Jr. Outside of him, the defending Pittsburgher 100 winner, Rick Auckland, in car number 12. Your fourth row then should be the 111 car of Rob Blair and the 1H of Les Hare. On the fifth row then it'll be the 69 of John Hodgkiss, the 1Z of Jim Zarin. On the sixth row then should be the 2F of Brad Feisler and the 17E of Lance Elson. Then it should be the 119 of Jim Bernheisel, the 95 of Bob Waring Jr., then the 12D of Doug Drown, the 1X1 of Sonny Conley, then the 19J of Davey Johnson, and the 99B of Rick Briggs. So that is your scheduled starting lineup for this second Masterbuilt Race Car B main event. As they work their way in off the number 4 corner. See if we get a good start here as Kowalik and Pencil bring the field around. They approach the pylon. Green flag comes out and we're underway.
Whoa, it's a battle for the outside, and Jack Pencil gets it into turn 1. Moran motors to second.
Well, Kowalik falls into the number 3 spot. Rick Auckland into 4th. Bill Cunningham riding 5th as the field works their way through the 3 and 4 turn.
Here comes Cunningham. He's found the moisture up on the top side of the racetrack. He'll move by Auckland for 4th down the front stretch.
Well, on the start, looked as though pole sitter George Kowalik lit the button and the tires spun as he got a little heavy pressure from Cunningham, and now Moran almost getting by Pencil.
He really raced him hard into turn 3, but he wasn't able to make it stick down on the bottom. Right now it's Pencil first, Moran second, Kowalik 3rd, Cunningham 4th, and Auckland still 5th.
Well, Rick Auckland going to have to make it into the program. Does not have a provisional to try and make it into this Pittsburgher. So the defending winner could be on the sidelines by the time this one's over with.
No change in the top 5. Again, Moran getting into the corner, able to close ground on Pencil, but Jack will pull him by 2 or 3 car lengths going down the backstretch.
And can see the 111 car of Robbie Blair falling back to the back. Davey Johnson and the 19J, both of those cars, point provisionals awaiting them. Basically just getting some practice laps out here.
Once again, Moran challenging Pencil for the lead, and Cunningham trying to run down Kowalik for 3rd. Into Into 3. Donnie dives to the bottom, but he can't make it stick.
Well, that allowed Kowalik to close on Moran. Cunningham got wide in turn 4, allowing Auckland to close in on him.
Robbie Blair slowing down. Apparently we use that provisional and pull the 111 car. The Bozzard Crawford 111 into the pits. 10 laps to go, almost 9 now. It's Jack Pencil, Donnie Moran, and George Kowalik 1, 2, and 3 off of 4. Cunningham 4th, Auckland 5th. Jim Zarin running 6th. Les Hare 7th. Jim Bernheisel 8th. Dave Hess Jr. 9th, and Rick Briggs is 10th.
Well, Donnie Moran climbing back up inside of Pencil in turn 3 and 4, but unable to make the pass. Kowalik still riding 3rd. Cunningham, Auckland 4th and 5th.
Jack Pencil keeps the lead by about 3 car lengths down the back straightaway. Moran's able to close in, getting into the turn, but Pencil's 14 car has been mighty strong coming off the corners. Halfway this time, 7 laps to go.
So once again, Donnie Moran right on the back bumper of Jack Pencil as they race through that number 3 and 4 corner.
George Kowalik's able to close back in on Moran. I tell you that just a little bobble there. Donnie had to spike the brakes in the middle of 3. Kowalik was able to close in, but once again Moran stretches the advantage on him by a few car lengths. Traffic ahead for the leaders.
And we'll see what happens as they are moving in on the slower car of Sonny Conley, the 1X1 car. Moran got a little bit wide, and that allowed Kowalik to close. Looks as though Davey Johnson going to take the 19J pit side.
He too will use a provisional as both Pencil and Moran get by the 1x1 of Sonny Conley. Less than 5 to go now, and they have separated themselves from the 3rd place car of George Kowalik. Just 2 to go, of course, to the Pittsburgher. Right now would be Pencil and Moran. We've got 4 laps remaining.
So the field working their way by that 1X1 car of Sonny Conley as the laps continue to wind down. And now on lap 12, 3 racing laps to go.
Well, Jack Pencil's led it from the start, Brett, but he's never had much of a lead to work with. Moran's been shadowing him off now 13 laps, and here comes Kowalik trying to get in the mix again.
Well, 2 racing laps remaining. Pencil, Moran, and Kowalik in the spots for the transfer as they race off at turn 4.
White flag, this is it. Pencil maintains that 2-3 car length lead.
So in on the checkered flag, it'll be Jack Pencil picking up the win. Donnie Moran will finish 2nd. They'll transfer to the Pittsburgher. George Kowalik 3rd. Bill Cunningham 4th, and Rick Auckland in the number 5 position.
Jack Pencil taking 1 more lap just to make sure. The racing school teacher out of Bedford, and one of the leading
in the 07R car will be Brent Raybergen. 4th row then in the T8 car it'll be Mark Bennell. Outside of that 4th row in the B1 Star car will be Rick Boom Briggs Jr. On the 5th row then in the 72 it'll be John Mason. Outside of that 5th row in the 84R will be Scott Rhodes. Your 6th row then should be the H1 of Jim Kutas, and the 99W starting 12th then will be the 99W of Jesse Burrows. Scheduled for the 7th row, the 1I of Neil Eisminger. Then the 47 of Matt Gaston. And starting scratch then should be the 04S car of Gary Swiger. So that
behind you, but Donnie Moran was trying to get you.
I figured Donnie's one of the best, if not the best in the whole country, running the top. This is sort of probably reminds him of Eldora. So I knew he was starting behind me. I knew I had to get to the top right away because I saw what Doug Dodd did in the first start. So I tried to keep it up there. The car worked real good. And they were telling me he was 2, 3, 4 car lengths behind me, and I was just going to keep my line and make him try to go, scrub his momentum and try to get me on the bottom. But car worked really well.
You look pretty good. Now, we got a lot of fans here that aren't normally here, maybe don't know who Jack Pencil is. Some of my favorite drivers are school teachers. Now, I'd like you to share with the fans what you do with your real job.
Well, my real job, I'm an 8th grade algebra teacher at Bedford Middle School in Bedford, PA, and I've been doing that for 14 years.
How do the kids respond to the teacher being a race car driver?
Oh, some of them like it. Most of them could care less. They're worried about a lot of other things besides racing the school teacher. But I have, 15 or 20 come in, and, if I get second somewhere, they come in, you lost, But, yeah, it's fun. We joke around about it, in math class. Every time a number 14 comes up, I get got a big smile on my face, and they roll their eyes, with a little smile on their face. So we have fun with it.
I guess if you were hanging out with Britney Spears, you'd get a better response.
That would be nice.
Well, hey, good luck, and we're glad you're in the show.
Thanks. It's going to be a long way from the back, but glad we're in, and make a few adjustments, and we'll give her a shot.
Okay, Dial, back up to you.
So Mike Cecere, Todd Andrews start to bunch up the field as they work their way off the number 4 turn. And they come in, and we have green flag out, and we're underway.
Steve Shaver goes for a slide into turn 1 up across the racetrack. He and Tony Mussolino both. It's Andrews in front.
Well, Todd Andrews out with the early race lead as Brian Ruhlman battles with Mike Cecere. Steve Shaver now gets by Ruhlman to take the 3rd spot right on the back bumper of Cecere as they head down the front chute.
Todd Andrews with a healthy lead here in just a lap. The race right now for a second. It's still Cecere, but Shaver putting the pressure on. Ruhlman 4th and Tony Mussolino 5th.
Well, Steve Shaver now to the inside of Mike Cecere as they race through the number 3 and 4 turn. Meanwhile, Todd Andrews out by himself in the lead. Brian Ruhlman now getting in on the action as we have a 3-car battle for the second and final qualifying spot.
Ruhlman dives to the inside of Shaver. Shaver had to burp the throttle there as he got up on the back end of Mike Cecere, and the race is now for 3rd. And both cars starting to close in on the 35 of Cecere. It's going to be Shaver trying him on the inside. Contact down the front stretch.
Well, Brian Ruhlman in that 49 car steps to the outside to see if the outside line will work. He had to jump off the throttle. That allows Shaver to get by and take the 3rd spot back.
Todd Andrews out in front by a straightaway. Shaver again pulls right up on the back end of Cecere, and he has to get out of the gas, and there goes Ruhlman. He may get both. He does into one.
So Brian Ruhlman, the Maumee, Ohio driver, gets the Rand Corporation sponsored 49 car up to the final transfer spot. Meanwhile, Todd Andrews has checked out, and he is in an entirely different zip code as Andrews with more than a full straightaway length lead.
Tony Mussolino trying to pressure Cecere for 4th as Ruhlman and Shaver run 2nd and 3rd. Nowhere near Todd Andrews.
And a spin over in turns 1 and 2 as Tony Mussolino and John Mason and now Neil Eisminger get together. Mason going in hard into turn number 1. That got him up into the Mussolino.
Node in, the track surface is clean, and we should be ready to go here very shortly with resumption of this race. Running a Masters built chassis. Both cars look identical the way they're going around the racetrack. Here we go. The green is back out.
So off the number 2 corner they go. Andrews with a very strong drive, able to pull away from Ruhlman as they head down the back chute.
Shaver trying a lower line in that 0, trying to make up some ground. Now slides to the top side off of 4. He's still 3rd. Cecere 4th, and Banal 5th with Brent Raybergen on his tail.
Well, Todd Andrews and that Andrews Auto Salvage number 42. A pretty good size lead over Brian Ruhlman. Steve Shaver continuing to ride 3rd. That won't do it. You need to be in the top 2 to advance.
Andrews, the winner of the 1999 Pittsburgher 100. He too, I believe, didn't make this starting grid a year ago.
So at the halfway point, 8 laps down, 7 racing laps to go. Andrews seemingly in control of this third Masterbuilt race car B main event. Shaver coming hard on Ruhlman in turn 3 and 4.
Steve Shaver giving it all he can here. This is the last chance, as we say. They both have closed in a little bit on Andrews, and the race for second definitely has tightened up here. We have 5 laps to go.
Yeah, you sort of wonder if there may not be a problem on the 42 car of Todd Andrews. That big lead that he had has suddenly dwindled, and Shaver way up high against the wall, losing all kinds of ground.
It almost sounds like the 42 car is flat, like there may be a motor problem, like he's not getting any RPM coming down the straightaway. Not sure. Doesn't sound like it's hitting on 8 cylinders.
So So 3 more racing laps to go. Andrews trying to hang on. Ruhlman still second, Shaver third.
On a slick racetrack, sometimes when you're under horsepower, it can actually help you through the turns. He hasn't lost any of his corner speed. Todd Andrews coming off the 4th turn. Brian Ruhlman still in second, and Shaver, who lost all that ground, has 1 more lap to make a charge.
So Todd Andrews, if he can hang on for less than a half lap here, will get himself back into the Pittsburgher 100. Brian Ruhlman continuing to ride second. Steve Shaver on the outside looking in. They come in on the checkered flag. It'll be Todd Andrews the winner. Brian Ruhlman second. Steve Shaver will ride home third. It looks as though it'll be Mike Cecier in the 4th spot and Mark Banal to finish 5th. Again, it's Burner, Stuhler, Ferree, Urban, Flinner, and Mike Johnson going 6 laps in this Hiskey Racing Cams Dash event. Burner and Stuhler bring them around. They pick up the pace. Green flag waves, and we're underway.
Whoa, contact. Guys getting very physical at the start as they thundered into one. Stuhler and Free make contact, and Free goes around with Matt Urban with nowhere to go. Looks like the nose is pushed back in on the right front a little bit.
Burner, Stuhler, Flinner, Urban, and Mike Johnson now in the field. So Burner and Stuhler bring the field around, looking for a green flag start. And green flag waves, and we're back underway with this Hiskey Racing Cams Dash event. Off the number 1 and 2 corner they go. Gary Stuhler, a car length in front, takes the race lead as they head down the back chute.
Burner second and Flinner third. Urban then Johnson. Flinner trying the inside of Burner.
So Gary Stuhler aboard the Neininger Tire Service number 90 car. Out in front, putting about 10 to 12 car lengths between he and Keith Burner. Flinner continues to ride third, Urban 4th, and Mike Johnson 5th.
Flinner closing right in on the back end of Keith Burner for second. Wow, had to burp the throttle there, and you see the car drop. John lost a lot of ground there in turn 2. He slipped high.
And now on lap 3, 3 down, 3 to go.
to go, and Gary Stuhler comfortably ahead of Keith Berner, John Flinner, Matt Urban, and Mike Johnson. Flinner was able to pressure Berner a few laps back, Brett, but things have sort of solidified here as we come to the white flag.
Well, Gary Stuhler, Mr. Smooth, looks as though he's going to have the pole position for the 15th annual Pittsburgher 100. You come up with races east of Ohio. Gary Stuhler's won most of them, but never ever won the Pittsburgher 100.
You're right. He's won the Penn National 100 here as a Renegade win here, but never the Pittsburgher. This could be the year. He will start from the pole. Berner outside, Flinner third, Urban fourth, and Johnson fifth.
And that's the way they'll line up for that Pittsburgher 100, starting in the 6th spot.